Mercedes unveiled the AVTR at CES in 2020 as a tie-in to the upcoming movie Avatar, Way of the Water. The car and the motion picture have the same name, though Mercedes says that AVTR stands for Advanced Vehicle Transformation. To understand what that means, we have to catch up on the fantasy world writer/director James Cameron created. The Vision AVTR sure does looks futuristic. It's a future where, apparently, side impact, door beams and seatbelts have become unnecessary, even the tires have accent lighting, little flaps in the bodywork open and close like gills, and there's not much need for cargo space. In a cockpit buck separate from the actual car, the Mercedes team demonstrated some of the contemplated technology. That includes an entire dashboard that illuminates and delivers information, mostly from overhead projectors. A center control knob between the driver and passenger allows either to pilot the vehicle by moving it fore and aft, left and right. The AVTR is not based on any current production Mercedes, electric or otherwise, and uses 4 electric motors nearly inside each of its massive wheels. Each motor and each wheel can operate independently of the others, meaning the car crabs sideways or turn almost within its own wheelbase. The degree to which the AVTR's specifications are actual versus aspirational is somewhat hazy. But Mercedes says that the combined output of the motors is 350 kilowatts, which translates to a bit more than 469 horsepower. The battery pack eschews the current industry standard lithium-ion for graphene-based organic cell chemistry, which can also be produced without using any rare earth minerals or other toxic stuff. And it's recyclable. Mercedes projects that charging such a battery, with a capacity of 100 kilowatt-hours, could take only 15 minutes. Time to go for a ride. Getting into the actual vehicle and out into the California sunshine proves one thing: the future is still going to need some wicked efficient air conditioning. With so much glass and/or other transparencies, it takes a solar load something fierce. With an undeveloped suspension and tires built to look spectacular rather than ride smoothly, the AVTR sort of rattled around the studio behind a security golf cart. But the ease with which the car was controlled by that center wand was impressive. If the future is full of connected vehicles constantly communicating with one another, and artificial intelligence is around to keep things moving, a wand may be all that drivers ever want. Of course, the future isn't likely to precisely follow the lead of the AVTR. And it's also unlikely that there's an accessible planet full of big blue people, too. But that's what's exciting about the future: it could be anything. The most animal-esque feature of the car can be found on the back, where an array of 33 bionic flaps open and close independently of one another. Each moves on carbon fiber hinges that accordion like pieces of origami. Their lightness allows for extremely quick actuation, and they can be programmed to flicker in a wave-like pattern like a bird fluffing its feathers. The honeycomb of holes radiates blue light, but if you were to stop suddenly, the flaps would go vertical like air brakes while the openings glow red. It's an undeniably neat effect, but you probably shouldn't stare at them too long if you suffer from trypophobia. Approach the car and it comes to life with a dazzling array of lighting animations that pulse and ebb like the glowing flora of Pandora. It's almost as if the car is breathing, a sensation amplified by the twitching of the back flaps. Gander at the illuminated front-end graphic and you'll see where the EQS and EQS SUV got their noses. LEDs streak down the lower shelf beneath the taillight like comets. Even the wheels have throbbing light patterns that form the spokes. Mercedes chief of design Gordon Wagner says they were inspired by the wood sprites from the film. Glass scissor doors swing open on massive chrome hinges to allow access to the cabin. Points of light swirl and trace the edges of nearly every interior surface, adding to the sense that the car is somehow alive. Settling in gracefully requires you to back your posterior onto the thin, leaf-like seats, then swing your legs into the car. The AVTR is so low that you don't sit so much as you do recline. The first thing you notice is that there's no steering wheel, screen or controls of any kind before you. The dash is simply one sweeping blank curve. All movement of the car is done through a mushroom cap-like joystick in the center console. Its location means either driver or passenger can operate it. Push the pad forward for drive, push it backwards for reverse. Roll it to the left or right to turn in that direction. The AVTR has rear wheel steering, so the front and rear wheels can angle in opposite directions for a tightened turning radius. Rotate the pad to the left or right and the wheels will angle in the same direction for a diagonal crab walk. And no, the wheels don't actually spin in 3 dimensions like Will Smith's Audi in I, Robot. The spherical shape looks cool, and only the band at the equator ever touches the ground. That's how the lighting on the tires remains undamaged. The absence of a steering wheel lets the entire expanse of the curved dash become a screen of sorts. An overhead projector beams a map onto the surface, and as a nod to the movie, Pandora is one of the selectable locations. Changes to the menu are made via gesture. Simply raise your hand to a spot above the console and you'll see icons projected onto your palm. Then you flick your hand to the left or right to make selections. Like a touchscreen, it takes considerable focus, so such a system would only be prudent when the car is in autonomous mode. Because environmental consciousness is a major theme of the Avatar movies, Mercedes says that the 110 kWh battery is organic and compostable thanks to the use of graphene and no rare earth metals. Total system horsepower is 469, and power comes from 4 motors, 1 at each wheel. Dear friends, thank you all for subscribing, thank you for supporting me, love you.